Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CardArt local here in Sunnyvale, California. My name is Ben, and I'm here with a different person this time.
Hello, I'm not Zach. I'm babies, Missy Noel. You may know me, you may not, but it's great to hear. It's a great day here in NorCal.
Weather's really nice outside.
No, it's not too hot. It's not too cold. Summer can get
Absolutely. We are heading into this is the top 8 match. We are cutting to a top 8. We are having Sahen versus Joshua, and we're going to get right into team game. Joshua is running the team of Tornadus, Landorus-Therian, Rillaboom, Urshifu. Urshifu is going to be that Rapid Strike. Rillaboom, Hisui and Arcanine, and Flutter Mane. And Sahen running the Iron Hands, Therian, Flutter Mane. Our first Chien-Pao of the evening today, as well as, sorry, hold on. That's Dragapult and that Heatran.
This team looking to do a combination of Tailwind and Rain Dance here. Doesn't have any Swift Swim Pokemon. Makes up for it with Urshifu. Very fast. Got the safety goggles. It's got Aqua Jet, so it's similarly fast. But that's going to be his only rain abuser. Like that, he's got the Rillaboom here. Helps to take away from other water types that Terra in front. Waste its Tailwind turn, so we're going to see how he gets to apply.
Right, we are heading into game 1 right now. Again, this is 8. You see Joshua leading off with the Rillaboom and the Urshifu Rapid Strike. And Sahen leading off with the Chien-Pao and the Dragapult. The nickname's throwing me for a second.
Oh yeah, Curious Village. It's a very nice nickname. I like this lead from Sahen. You know, he's applying a lot of pressure physically. Sort of Ruin, lowering the deep. Got Dragapult here with a Choice Band. Able to dish out a ton of damage. So Rillaboom's going to be looking to stop that, probably with it. But not going to be able to fake out Dragapult.
Yeah, I don't know. Dragapult's looking very threatening here. It's looking to do a lot of damage. I don't see anything that really stops Dragapult from clicking Terra Fairy, wow, excuse me, Terra Ghost, Terra Blast, but Chien-Pao leaving the field here doesn't want to get faked out on turn 1. Doesn't want to protect either in the face of Earth.
Iron Hands is looking like a good switch here. Gets him a lot of bulk on the field and a bit of maneuverability with a fake out. Seeing the Terra right now from Dragapult, and it is the Ghost Terra, so perhaps he's going for the Terra Blast right away. It's not going to be boosted by Sword of Ruin in it. Power is left. Seeing another Terra, whether it's the Urshifu or Rillaboom.
And do get confirmation that it is on the Urshifu. It makes a lot of sense. Nothing was heavily threatening that water typing, but now that Iron Hands is on the field, Iron Hands might have something to say about that. We do see Take Out go into Iron Hands, just a little bit of damage. Phantom Force, Terra Ghost, Phantom Force, and Dragapult is safe for now.
This is really cool. We see a Surging Strike right into the Iron Hands. Well, he did call correctly, a fake out going into that slot and mitigating the damage there. Surging Strike that all 3 hits are dealing more than half of its health. Another one of those, you've been knocked out. Dragapult, I do like this position. So, got the fake out on deck, got Dragapult hidden and protected. There goes Phantom Bane Strike. Tasha's, you know, he's gonna have to figure out which one that's going for. Could be the Urshifu, which is not a very bulky Pokemon. Probably doesn't take that well. Rillaboom might be able to take it, but we'll see what Sahen chooses.
It's going to do a lot of damage to whichever slot it goes into. Rillaboom protects, but if it's going into protect, it's not going to care about that. Fake out does go into the Rillaboom. That's not protect. That's there. We do see Phantom Force come out. It is into the Urshifu. Not quite enough to pick up the KO on Urshifu there. That's a big deal. Urshifu now gets to fire off another Surging Strikes.
Yeah, so what was going to be a safe play, just fake out Rillaboom, hope the Urshifu gets knocked out. It's play happening. We see the reverse. Iron Hands is down to the Surging Strike. And, you know, Dragapult is Choice Band. It's locked into Phantom Force, so whatever momentum he has, it's locked. However, Rillaboom did just protect, so maybe there's a Pokemon in the back that Sahen could catch you out and run it with an Ice Spinner.
That's a big deal. The Urshifu survival, really big deal. Now it threatens further. Well, not only does it threaten further damage now, you get rid of the bulkiest Pokemon on Sahen's team at the moment. of the 4 that he brought, which is that Iron Hands. Was that Iron Hands? Urshifu. Landorus is a good switch in though, here though, applying Intimidate to both targets.
Just a little unfortunate he doesn't have the Terrifying Blast available to him to threaten this Rillaboom, but still okay. He's getting the Intimidate down on both Pokemon. Urshifu Surging Strikes is going to ignore that, but at least the Aqua Jet will be Chien-Pao. I'm wondering... Oh, we see the Detect here for Urshifu, so he's going to protect himself for the turn. We're seeing a double protect, so I'm not sure what the intent was entirely behind that, but working out because Sahen launches a U-turn into the opposing protect, and you do see another Phantom Force. The only move he could choose being... It's a question of what target it's going to hit.
Not often that you see Dragapult move last in a game without Trick Room or Tailwind in play, but that's what happens with the Choice Scarf Landorus and an attempted double protect on the opposing side. Urshifu does hang around for that turn. Now Joshua knows that Landorus is locked into that U-turn, which on the one hand is good, knowledge is always good. On the other hand, U-turn is looking pretty good into both of Joshua's Pokemon now.
Yeah, although notably Rillaboom did fail on the double. So could protect to avoid a big chunk of U-turn damage. A safer target would be the Urshifu. Could deal that last bit of chip. We're actually seeing Rillaboom not opt to go for another protect. Send in the Landorus. We're going to try to reduce that damage. Maybe he's hoping that Urshifu could tank his U-turn.
As ever, Landorus is a really good switch into Landorus. Apply that Intimidate regardless of Dragapult being on the field or not. Terra Water Aqua Jet not going to be nearly enough to pick up Landorus on the opposing side. U-turn, Urshifu is able to survive thanks to the grassy terrain, thanks to its friend Rillaboom. And Landorus gets to pivot on out of there, but now Chien-Pao has to come in.
Yeah, at least this Chien-Pao is going to boost the damage of Phantom Force, so it's a Landorus. He's traded his Urshifu, essentially. You're going to see that it comes out onto them, and it is enough to take out the knockout. So at least Joshua still has Urshifu. That Intimidate was helpful there, but he has to go all the distance. He's facing down a Chien-Pao with a Sucker Punch faster than him.
Definitely has to worry about Sucker Punch. Rillaboom comes back in, could apply that pressure. I was a little surprised that -1 Phantom Force was able to get the KO on that onto Landorus. Landorus typically pretty bulky.
Clear body. That's what makes Dragapult so good.
You were correct, I missed that.
It's okay. We don't see Dragapult very often. Last we saw it...
I didn't see it at all. It wasn't on the field before.
It's alright. Last we saw it won a region. Yes, and it was nowhere to be seen up until then. I'm content to keep watching it. I mean, there's nothing Joshua can do to punish that. We don't see an Aqua Jet yet. We don't see a Surging Strikes. This Dragapult is having to completely fold. However, this Chien-Pao did just kick out, and now it's in a close combat.
Yeah, that's going to cleanly KO Chien-Pao. Crit, definitely not necessary. Chien-Pao hates fighting moves more than basically anything. I'm a little surprised at how unchecked this Dragapult has been. It's just kind of been free to sit here and continue to throw out huge amounts of unresisted ghost damage.
Yeah, and it's looking to do that even more. I mean, Nurse is gone. A lot of his... So that Urshifu. The Scarf Landers. Ran a lot of damage. There's nothing that you can really do to stop it at this point. So perhaps a pivot, maybe you just gotta take the...
Looks like we're being... Okay, it's a little bit of indecision because Landorus is not going to be able to pivot anymore. The move it clicks now is going to be the move it will select for the rest of the game. So it is important. Urshifu just going to detect, doesn't want to take any, doesn't want to go down just yet.
Comes a Rock Slide, and you know the old adage, there is a Rock Slide, there is a way. Perhaps Sahen, he doesn't want to lock that stopping. What's that going to do? At least he has a chance to, or maybe just knock out the Rillaboom entirely.
That's a big amount of damage. Rillaboom going down there definitely great. The detect did keep Urshifu safe, but to what end, I should ask? We do have Arcanine in the back. Intimidate is going to be helpful, at least for the Landorus. Not so much for the Dragapult.
Yeah, Dragapult still, it's been locked into this Phantom Force. Feels like forever, this whole match.
Since turn 1.
It's about to go for another one. I wonder how well Arcanine can take clear body. negating this Intimidate. So Joshua's bringing both of his Intimidate Pokemon, but we're not seeing him do anything. His Pokemon are getting knocked out regardless by this. Landorus is locked into Rock Slide, so on top of the Phantom Forces, he's going to have to try to work his way. A little bit worrisome. The Urshifu is at -2, so this a lot of damage. Maybe too little too late.
Definitely looks like too late there. Urshifu no longer resisting the Rock Slide thing. Futurastic is not going to take it down. Arcanine takes a decent at 2 even after the Intimidate. And I mean, we know what Dragapult's going to do, right? We don't need to say it.
Yeah, it is going to vanish. We come back a turn later to see it connect a head smash. Okay, so now it's really up to how much damage is found. So this game's not over.
That's a lot of damage from that head smash. Given how much damage we've seen Dragapult do thus far, I don't think Arcanine's not going to be able to hang on from that one. And Dragapult kind of, I don't want to say cleaned up the game all on its own, because it definitely had help, but man, was it not the driving force of that?
Yeah, it was pretty surprising. At first, you see Iron Hands get knocked out, and you're thinking, okay, like, this match is getting a little worrisome. But then, before you know it, Dragapult took out Rillaboom, it took out Landorus, then took out Arcanine. We just saw it. This thing is insane. It's just sitting there the whole time. It didn't even need Chien-Pao on the field the entire time.
No, it didn't. Chien-Pao showed up for a couple turns just to help it boost a little bit of damage, but it was definitely not necessary for the duration.
Yeah. I noticed that Joshua Pokemon, maybe he likes a Pokemon himself, but he's not getting value. That Dragapult's just chilling. It's just hanging out there, launching big damage.
No, it's tough to deal with Dragapult. You can't fake it out. You can't intimidate it. You can burn it. But I don't think Joshua has any tools with which to do that. I would think Tailwind on Tornadus would be the best way out of that.
And pair it with the Flutter Mane, get rid of it entirely. You can launch a Shadow Ball without fear of its Terra type being Steel, or it could just launch Shadow Balls. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we see Josh from the fate. Spam goes. So can I. And I can outspeed your Dragapult, which gave me a lot of problems last time. What will he do about it? See and find it.
Yeah, I would be a little surprised to not see Joshua at least make an adjustment. I wouldn't be surprised to get that Tornadus so that he has a bit of speed control on his side. We're getting into game 2. Top 8 here at CardArt. Sahen versus Joshua.
So we are seeing Dragapult and Chien-Pao here again from putting it back. So see Tornadus and Arcanine. So yeah, it's sure maybe the Tailwind's going to be coming. Maybe Bird. Sorry.
I think that is definitely a good adjustment. I think Tornadus makes a lot of sense. I would have fully expected to do that to help counteract the otherwise very oppressive, very difficult to slow down otherwise. With speed in Joshua's favor, I think he has a much better shot of being able to neutralize the Dragapult. Arcanine.
Yeah, precisely. This Chien-Pao may come back to us on because Arcanine's a physical attacker, pulling a choice band with a strong move like Flare Blitz or Head Smash. This Dragapult is susceptible to Flare Blitz. It might be a Head Smash. We're seeing a Terra right now, keeping itself a little bit. We're gonna have to see how the speed interaction. Joshua opted.
Definitely going to be important. A Terra for a Terra, though. We do see Arcanine going for it as well, opting for the Terra normal. Grass is typically the more common Terra on Arcanine, but Terra normal coming in pretty big here, going to be immune to any ghost moves. But extreme speed going into the Dragapult there. I wonder if that was a prediction.
Yeah, that kind of had to be a prediction. At least he is immune to the Phantom Force now, so if that's going for Arcanine, Tornadus taking a whole damage from the spinner. But Focus Sash is broken from the Rocky Helmet. That is amazing. Like, for a Pokemon like Chien-Pao, it's Sash is broken. Now it's totally susceptible to extreme speed.
It's pretty important to note also that one, Bleak Windstorm connected, and two, dropped Chien-Pao speed. That could end up mattering. Tailwind has not yet been set up. Arcanine might outspeed Chien-Pao now. Now that Chien-Pao is at -1 speed. Not that it really matters because it's locked into that extreme speed, but it's a nice thought. E-speed does go into the protect on Chien-Pao though.
Now we're seeing Tornadus protect itself, but if a Phantom Force do anything, it does go into Arcanine. So perhaps it was a defensive play of sorts.
It's not very often that you see two immunities come into play in the same turn, or in the same as frequently. But yeah, that's what happens with normal and ghost types. You don't see it very often in VGC, but here we are. The extreme speed lock makes sense for everything but Dragapult, but the problem is Dragapult is the main offensive threat right now.
Yeah, and you saw him once, now the target is easy. It's not the Arcanine, it's the partner next to it. Granted, it's going to take a turn before that damage realized, so this Tornado is going to do whatever it would like to. But Sahen doesn't really have a lot of say. Extreme speed is pressuring Chien-Pao, and when there's that, what can you do? Here comes the extreme speed. Gonna land on the Chien-Pao, so Chien-Pao is knocked out. At least Sahen has that Iron Hands.
Yeah, Iron Hands does switch in pretty safely if Bleak Windstorm. Okay, Bleak Windstorm does not come out. Instead, Tailwind is set up. That's going to allow the Arcanine and the Tornadus to be faster than the Dragapult. Dragapult doesn't come back in. It is instead the Landorus dropping in state onto Arcanine and, less importantly, the Tornadus.
Yeah, so this Tailwind, if you thought extreme speed was fast, now we're faster. It's not going to matter too much because of the increased priority, but perhaps Joshua's thinking turns ahead. He's saying, hey, maybe I'm going to switch out Arcanine. Tornadus is likely to go down here. He's probably setting up for big end game, kill game of sorts. Landorus on the field does help mitigate Arcanine. We do see it switch out.
Arcanine does switch out, wants to get rid of that Intimidate drop. Landorus of Joshua's own coming in here, applying, I would say, a pretty impactful Intimidate onto the Landorus and Iron Hands on the opposing side here. Tornadus going for Protect, doesn't want to fall prey to the Fake Out on the side, but if I'm Joshua, maybe I want Tornadus to go down here.
Yeah, I feel like I would want to keep it in order to get something back in. Perhaps Arcanine. It is a little worrisome to bring Arcanine back in against Landorus, but it'll be at neutral, and she wouldn't have been intimidated, so who knows what head smash we have to say again. Running a really cool move in Ice Punch. You don't see that very often.
No, Ice Punch definitely not a common move. Trying to select the Rock Slide there, but Ice Scarf is a fickle mistress. You can only click one thing, and right now it's Rock Slide.
So, it's Ice Punch. Sure, you got the Landorus in, but at what cost? I did see that Ice Punch get selected on the Landorus slot, so it is in danger of not. This stays in. We're seeing a rain dance here, so he's really prepping for something big in the back. And we see an Earth. He's catching the Dragon, doing a lot of time. Wow, just another one would seal the deal.
Does over half to both, but Ice Punch doing a lot of damage to Landorus. That Intimidate being really important to keep Landorus around. Now there's nothing to stop another Earthquake coming out from that Landorus and cleaning up these two. Landorus can switch in, sure, but only one of these Pokemon can be saved here.
Yeah, and on top of that, Tailwind goes down, Tornadus is still gotta figure out a way to break that. So, Rain Dance here makes me think he's got Urshifu. So, top of these Surging Strikes that could come out later, some Aqua Jets can help pick off these. Landorus is, in particular, not appreciative of the rain, especially when there's a Urshifu on the other side waiting to smack with the Surging Strikes.
No, definitely not. We do see Bleak Windstorm actually come out and do a lot of damage to the opposing Landorus, actually. Earthquake only going to affect Iron Hands here, but that will be enough to clean it up.
Yeah, so we're seeing Iron Hands go down here. Landorus comes back in, but unfortunately you have to lose your Iron Hands. And Tailwind, see, is petered out, and Tornadus is still on the field. If I were Joshua, I'm thinking another Tailwind.
I think another Tailwind is pretty clearly on the menu for this particular turn. The one saving grace of that is that It means Tornadus is not clicking Bleak Windstorm this turn, which, as we saw, did a lot of damage to Landorus on the other side. So Landorus does get a turn to try to fire back.
Yeah. And now the opposing Joshua's Landorus is at -2. Landorus switched out, switched back. So when Dragapult took that Earthquake, it was at -1. Now at -2, maybe it could live. See the Tailwind come out, so Joshua's keeping that tempo, keeping that offensive pressure. Like, seeing the Earthquake come out. Also like that, because what else would Landorus do here? We got to get rid of this Dragapult. We know how much damage it did the last game. Oh, and it is enough to take the knock.
That's pretty critical there. Dragapult going down, I think, is the death knell for Sahen here. I was totally wrong about about letting Tornadus go down earlier in the game. Tornadus goes down now, but I think it goes down a hero.
Yeah, it did a lot of work. It launched a lot of Bleak Windstorms, launched a lot of Tailwinds, and it's set up for the Urshifu. Urshifu loves just swift swim through it without the ability. What can Landorus do here? It can only hope. We're gonna see that Sahen picked his move pretty fast. We're seeing the Surging Strikes, and it takes the knockout on Landorus. Critical hit. Strike works. Didn't really need that, but you know, Joshua wanted to play it safe. He wanted to set up the Rain Dance just in case something went south. He didn't know if Dragapult was going to be at the end game, but being able to Aqua Jet it in the rain might, you know, it might impact a lot of the state.
Definitely better to play it safe there. Also, I apologize. The layout was wrong the whole time. We are tied at 1-1. We're going to a game 3 in this top 8 of Sahen versus Joshua.
Yeah, so it was exciting. You know, that one felt like a much cleaner sweep. Whereas game 1
for sure.
felt like it was kind of in between, right? Don't know if Iron, because it just gets knocked. And at that point, you're thinking, wow, Sahen is kind of behind here, but he manages to bring it back. It says, you know what? I'll just keep clicking this move. What can you do to stop me? Now, worried about this Rain Dance. Probably might need to get rid of that Tornado. Do it when ensure his Dragapult passes thing on.
Tornado is definitely a big problem there. Something I noticed is that both of these teams are very offensive. There's a whole lot of damage coming out from both sides. Neither of these teams are really setup oriented. So we've just seen a whole lot of big blows and a lot of big damage. Sort of turn after turn, jockeying for position while that damage is going off can be really difficult.
Yeah, I am remembering in game 2 with the normal terror on the Arcanine, he targeted the Dragapult. Still wondering what that decision was. Maybe he was trying to stall the Phantom Force in some Chien-Pao in a state where he gets knocked out at a specific point. Perhaps an adjustment there may be what Sahen needs.
NUB, we are heading into game 3 now. Joshua versus Sahen, top 8 here at the CardArt local here in Sunnyvale, California. And Joshua leading off with the Urshifu and Tornadus, the same Tornadus that won him that game. But we see a pretty big adjustment from Sahen's side.
Yeah, so trade one ghost and we get another. Instead of the Dragapult, we're seeing the special attack boosted Flutter Mane. So it's also paired with a fake. You gotta be a little bit worrisome here. Tornadus is at risk of getting faked out. It does have the Ghost Terror, but it's kind of hard to justify Ghost Terror in front of a fake out. So you spend a lot of big resource just one turn. You gotta ask himself, is this Tailwind really worth it? It does have Protect. So does the Urshifu. So perhaps we'll see what gets locked.
Yeah, it's going to possibly be a big deal. We see Flutter Mane going for the Terrestrialization. Take a shot if you've ever seen Terra Fairy Flutter Mane before, because it's really good. It does a lot of damage. And, okay, we don't see a Terra on the opposing side. Tornado's just opting to protect. Plays it safe here to stall out that turn of fake out. And Urshifu doing so as well.
So Joshua just playing a little bit patient. Obviously, there's a fake out in the field, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, besides a double. This also lets him see what... this lets Joshua see what Sahen was planning to do with the Flutter Mane, and it was going to be a dazzle. Sahen trying to take a 2-for-1 sort of deal right here. He wants to knock out the 2 and do a lot of damage.
Definitely makes sense. Flutter Mane now does have to be careful of the possible Tailwind plus Terra Water Surging Strikes. play. And looking in the back, I don't see any great switch-ins for Surging Strike.
Yeah, Heatran is not a grass type yet. It does have that Terra Grass, but to get it in, it's going to be hard. You can't protect in front of this Urshifu. This combination is going to be really hard to stop. However, going in Sahen's favor, Joshua can only click Tailwind or Rain. Joshua is a little bit limited. He doesn't have his full run. He doesn't have the full force yet. Seeing Heatran switching for Flutter Mane, so whether it's to take the Surging Strike or thinking it's going into Iron Hands, we'll see.
Definitely a bit of a bold switch in, if I say so myself. Terra Water going on to Urshifu now, all but guaranteeing that Surging Strikes is going somewhere this turn, and Tailwind is the move that Tornado selects. Makes sense. You want to make sure your Urshifu is faster than the Flutter Mane that was on the opposing side.
Yeah, so Terra Water making up for the lack of range. Seeing Heatran, unfortunately, taking full force. Iron Hands hasn't moved yet, though, so it's an electric type. When he's facing down two electric weak opponents, we're going to see how much damage comes out of any. And Iron Hands just hanging out for a moment, just waiting to let that realization of Heatran going down. Seeing the Wild Charge take out that clean one-hit knockout. Terra, gone.
That is a big one-hit knockout. Sometimes Urshifu are trained to survive Wild Charges from Iron Hands. It depends on how the two Pokemon are trained. Urshifu going down there, though, is a pretty big deal because, as you said, Terra is now off the board, and the Pokemon in the back is Landorus, heavily threatened by Urshifu, doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, fear is gone. You can go fearlessly into this battle. We're seeing the Landorus come out from Joshua, as well as the Sylph. Nickname for Flutter Mane coming back out in the field too. So Landorus, can hit Iron Hands for super effective damage. Flutter Mane is not known for its physical bulk, so Landorus launching an Earthquake here, just kind of expected.
I would fully expect Earthquake here. Flutter Mane just protecting, scouting out what this Landorus is going to do. Iron Hands does not have that luxury. It's going to have to, well, first eat this Bleak Windstorm, but I don't think it'll mind doing that too much. Takes a little bit of damage from that. It does have to worry about this Earthquake, though.
Yeah, so an Earthquake coming out, it's not intimidated, it's going to be dealing a lot of damage. Iron Hand has stats. It doesn't have the ability to survive this. Sahen had Landorus in the back, so can't switch that in now, but I wonder if that would have been really nice to have.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to not have seen the Landorus switch in on the previous turn. Because Landorus switching into Earthquake is a tale as old as Landorus.
Yeah, it's almost as old as the adage, when there's Rock Slide, there's a way. And for Sahen, it might be, but when your back's to the wall, you gotta do it. This Tornadus has been around. Hasn't really done a lot, but could set up a second Tailwind. Would certainly spell doom for Sahen.
Even setting up the Tailwind, I think, is good enough, because making sure that he can outspeed the Flutter Mane on the opposing side is important. So the Dazzling Gleam is not as big of a threat. Earthquake is going to come out here, not going to hit anything except the Flutter Mane, but Flutter Mane is kind of the focal point. It's all big and shiny and as big as on the screen. It does go down.
Oh, so now we are in a 1v situation. Sahen's Landorus is locked in that Rock Slide. So keep saying it, when there's Rock Slide, there's a way. Do what you gotta do.
You smash through that real quick.
Yeah. It's unfortunate to see this Flutter Mane go down. Not sure how much investment into that, but that Landorus at minus. Tornadus hit a Bleak Windstorm, which could have changed. What a Bleak Windstorm. Flutter Mane could be dealing a lot of damage right now. Don't see that. Instead, we're here in this uncharted Rock Slide territory of who wants to move. Seeing Tornadus protect itself. Probably spacious. Install it.
I think Protect on Tailwind, or Protect on Tornadus makes a lot of sense because, one, obviously you don't want to get hit by Rock Slide. Two, you stall out the turns of Tailwind so that you can reset up Tailwind before you are hit by Rock Slide again. You turn from the opposing Landorus to bring in the Arcanine to further weaken the Landorus on Sahen's side. Joshua just playing this as safely and carefully as possible.
Yeah, I really like this. He doesn't want to give up too much. Barring a critical hit, there's not much. In fact, Arcanine has a way to bypass these dreams. It's not going to be benefited from a Terra stab, but it's still a lot coming from Choice Band and Arcanine. Um, whether Joshua wants to play that game or not, see, but Sahen's Landorus has a lot of work to do. The rock slides, maybe critical hit this Arcanine, Tailwind come out, so we can see if it does, and he goes for the head smash and it misses.
Head smash missing could be big here. If Rock Slide is able to maybe get a critical hit, doesn't quite do it though. Even Tornadus barely holding on there. Maybe if Head Smash misses again and Bleak Storm misses again. Bleak Wind Storm does miss.
We're seeing this tail unfold right before our very own
Head
eyes.
Smash misses too.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe what I'm seeing. The Rock Slide hits. Sahen didn't need to land a flinch, but awesome stuff. Head Smash was a little bit of a question because it can. Seeing that right now. Corner of a couple of extremes. Now we're seeing Landorus, B, and whose Landorus can Rock Slide better than the other one? Let's see.
Yep, everybody loves this. Put on your... I don't have a joke here. It's going to be a bunch of Rock Slides.
Well, I will say, at least I know a Landorus will win. Seeing a U-turn come out, opting not to play that Rock Slide. Perhaps just wanting to feel consistent damage. Saying, okay, maybe I could do like 4 turns with you. Looks like it's going to be 3 turns, so... I see this Rock Slide come again. So, Tailwind gone. Flinch.
Now, if there's a Rock Slide, there's a way. As we keep saying, Rock Slide does connect. Do we see the flinch? We do see the flinch. Okay. Wow. We might need one more.
You know what? I'm missing my calculator. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but I feel like these odds are really crazy. We're seeing a final U-turn seal the deal. Joshua may have been scared in his seat, holding on for dear life, but his Landorus pulls through. Oh, that was crazy.
That was one of the Landorus games of all time.
Yeah, that was the most Landorus I've ever seen Landorus. Unfortunately, Sahen's Landorus did not pull out the win, right? Everything went right. Everything that needed to happen was happening. One more Rock Slide flinch or here or there, like, could have just changed everything.
Wow. Absolutely, yeah. Those are the kind of games you can have sometimes when you're running Choice Scarf Landorus with Rock Slide, right? Sometimes it's not the most glamorous way to win a game, but you do what you got to do.
Yeah, I like winning. I'm sure he does.
Yeah, there are cash prizes on the line for anyone that's potentially interested in coming to one of these here in Sunnyvale, California. Could potentially win cash prizes, store credit. There's a lot of cool stuff here.
You'd win our hearts too. We like a good story. Landorus is definitely going to be something on my mind. Afterwards, we go home, take a shower, jump into bed. I'm going to be in bed thinking about this. That was insane. Like, I'm not going to be able to sleep well at night. I'm going to be like, wow, only one more Rock Slide flinch to crit. Could have had an entirely different story here.
Yeah, entirely possible. For now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the top 4 match in just a moment.